Hi all, these are the notes for 6.2, which is factoring trinomials that are x squared plus bx plus c. All right, so we're going to look at a couple of important things here. The first thought in here is that whenever we factor a trinomial of this form, it needs to be in standard form first. This is the standard form, this x squared plus bx plus c. If it doesn't look like that, it needs to look like that before you start messing with it, because otherwise we're stuck. So I'm going to think about two things here. I'm going to try to make a binomial pair. That's what I want to do. And I'm going to look first. There's no number in front of x squared. So this is the process when the coefficient of x squared of the quadratic term is 1. Okay. So when this is a 1, the first thing I'm going to look for is two numbers that add to b. Add or subtract. Add, really. And then I'm going to look for two numbers that multiply to c. And I need these two numbers to be the same. Okay. So I want to add and subtract to get b. I want to multiply to get c. And I'm always going to start with the multiplication because it helps me understand what the choices are, because I can make negative 45 in a bunch of different ways, but then I'm going to try to make positive 4 out of the results. So like if I think about 45, I could do 15 and 3. So negative 15 and positive 3, or negative 3 and positive 15. That's not going to get me a 4. I could do 9 and 5 though. So if I did 9 times 5, that would get me 45, and I want to add them together to get 4. So I would have to do 9 plus negative 5. So that's got to be a negative 5, because that b number is a 4 and the c number is negative 45. Okay, so when I write my coefficients or my binomials, this is what I'm going to use. I'm going to use x plus 9, x minus 5. And then if I want to check it, I should FOIL and I should get this answer back. That's how this works. All right, so we're going to look at the second one. There's no coefficient in front of x besides a 1, so I can use this process. First, I want two numbers and I want them to add to the b term, which is negative 5. And then I want two numbers, those same two numbers, multiply to make negative 14. Well, let's see. 14 is 7 and 2, right? So I could use a negative 7 and a positive 2. That would get me negative 14. And then I could use a negative 7 and a positive 2. That would make negative 5. All right, so I'm going to do x minus 7, x plus 2. And if you're not sure, FOIL, remultiply, check it. All right, so you try these two. These are the same idea. Okay. Take a pause, actually do them. I will tell you the answer for the first one is w minus 5 and w minus 10. So pay attention to this sign combined with this one. This is a positive 50, but remember negative times negative gets me positive, and I need to get negative 15. So when I add two negatives together, I get more negatives. The same thing is the case here. This 48 is positive, the 16 is negative. That tells me that my two multiplied factors are actually both going to be negative. Okay, so when I get the answer here, it's going to be z minus 12 and z minus 4. All right, let's try something else. So the signs are determined as follows when I've given this. So if I have x squared plus bx plus c, it's always going to be x plus something, x plus something. If they're both positive, it's just going to be positive. If it's x squared minus bx plus c, they're going to both be minus, x minus something, x minus something. And then if they're mixed, if this is a plus and this is a minus. So these two cases go together, this minus c case. It's just one or the other. It's either x minus x plus or x plus x minus, same difference. The signs are just going to be different. That's what we're trying to get there. All right. So if C is positive, this is sort of the walkthrough of all of that. You can go through and read these, pause the video, read. If C is positive, both of the signs of the binomials must be the same. So if it's plus, it's plus plus. If it's plus minus, it's minus minus. If C is negative, the signs in the binomial must be different, and that's what we just saw. So try another one. Now look at this for a second. What do you see? What you should see is these are not in standard form, so I need to reorganize them first. So I need to put them in order. So p squared goes first, minus 8p, minus 48. And then I'm looking for the same two numbers. I want two numbers. Well, first look at it. It's a minus c, so I know it's going to be a plus and a minus. So I'm going to use a negative number and a positive number to make negative 8 and negative 48. So that's actually going to be, let's see, I'm going to use 4 and 12 because minus 12 plus 4. That's going to get me 8 and negative 48. Same thing down here below. This one actually has a trick in it, so pay attention. Standard form first, 10t cubed minus 30t squared minus 40t. What I see first is that this is cubed, and that's not the way this has been working, right? That's like the little flag in your head should go like, what is this? There's a common term here, so I'm going to factor out the greatest common factor first, and that's 10t. So I'm going to get t squared minus 3t minus 4. Much more pleasant, because I don't know how to factor this. We haven't done that yet. So now I'm going to keep that 10t out front and factor what's inside. So I know the signs are going to be different because this is a negative 4. So I need two numbers that multiply to negative 4 and add to negative 3. So it's going to be t, let's see, minus 4 and t plus 1. All right, try another. You try these two. Work very similarly. They have to go in standard form. And if there is a common term, as there is for D, pull it out first. So let's see. The answer for C should turn out to be W minus 6, W plus 1. And the answer for D, the common term is 2y squared. That comes out first. And that gives you y squared plus 15y plus 56. And then the 2y squared stays out front. And you can factor that y plus 7, y plus 8. Okay. All right, let's do the last couple. Try this one. So just like we've been doing, common term first. Oh, but wait, we haven't had a negative out front in a squared, right? I have a negative there. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to factor out a negative 1 first because I do not want this leading coefficient to be negative. It's just like bad manners. Okay, so I'm going to factor out a negative 1. And then I'm going to have a squared minus 6a, because it flips the signs, plus 8. And now I'm going to factor. I'm going to leave that negative 1 out there. So I'm going to have a. I know it's going to be 2 minuses. Let's see, multiply to 8, add to 6. So it's going to be 4 and 2. Same thing down below. Now, here's the thing. You're looking at the second one and you're like, well, but there's a D here. This D, when it is in this position, when it's attached to the end like this, when it's like CD and then at the end D squared, I think of this D as a hitchhiker. We just carry him along, watch. So for the moment, I'm going to completely ignore that D. I'm going to factor out the common term, which is a negative 2. I'm going to get C squared minus 11CD minus 30D squared. I'm not going to pay any attention to the D just yet. I'm just going to look at the numbers. So I have negative 2 out front. I know I'm going to have C. I know they're both, one's going to be a plus, one's going to be a minus. So I need to multiply to negative 30 and add to negative 11. Well, what are my numbers there? They are, oh, I've factored out in negative 2. I have to switch the signs. This is me not being awake early enough. So they're actually both going to be positive. My fault. I missed a step. I factored out a negative, so I have to change the signs. I was so worried about the hitchhiker. So I'm going to multiply to 30 and add to 11. That's going to be 5 and 6. But now I have to handle that D, and all I'm going to do is tack it on to the end. And if you FOIL this through, you're going to get what you started with. Okay, don't let the D panic you. All right, you try these two, factor out the negative 1, see what happens next. So in the first one, I'm going to get negative x minus 4, x plus 3. And then the second one, I'm going to factor out negative 3. It's going to get me a squared plus 5ab. Nope, not plus, minus. And then plus 4b squared. Remember that that b squared is a hitchhiker. I get negative 3. A minus 4b. A minus 1b. All right, so we have one more to go. Let's check this last one. 1 second, Luna. And then let's look at this. So I'm going to do the same thing I've been doing here. I want to multiply to 14 and add to negative 13. And now you start thinking like multiply to 14, positive 14 means the sign will be different. So I could use 7 and 2. I could use 14 and 1. That would work. But I need, let's see, negative 14 and positive 1 to make negative 13. But if I multiply negative 14 and positive 1, I get a negative 14. So actually what you see right at this point is this is not factorable. What this is prime. And that's how we're going to label it. Here's the thing, like 1 in every 10 or 12 is prime, not every like 7 out of 8. So this is answer occasionally, not very often. So use it sparingly. Okay, so look at the second one. I want to multiply to 28 and add to negative 7. So I could use 14 and 2. That's not going to work. I could use 7 and 4, right? That's not going to work. 28 and 1, not going to work. There are no factors that work here to give me that negative 7. So this is prime. And that's it. All right, practice these. The more you practice this set, the better off things are going to go from here because this is sort of the base level, right? So we just keep on trucking. I'll see you in the next one.